All right, let's talk about verbs. They're basically the engine of every single sentence, but man, can they get confusing, right? So, in the next few minutes, we're going to break down all 11 types, and I promise we'll make it simple, a framework you can actually walk away with and use.
But before we dive in, let me ask you something. If you had to pick just one word, the most important word in any sentence, what would it be? The one that really gives it all its power, its direction, its oof.
Yup, you guessed it. It's the verb. I mean, without a verb, a sentence is just, well, it's just a boring list of things, right? It's the verb that brings it all to life. It's the action, the feeling, the whole point of what we're trying to say.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down what a verb even is. Then, we'll split them into two big families. This is the key part. After that, we'll check out the different types in each family, and then we'll wrap it all up by showing you why any of this actually matters for your own writing.
All right, let's kick things off right at the begin.
So, what is a verb really? At its core, it's just a word that's all about doing or being. That's it. It's either showing an action, like run or think, or it's describing a state, like feel or exist. This is the big idea to hang on to. Action versus being. It's going to be super important. Okay, and this is where it all starts to click. Pretty much every verb out there fits into one of two main families. And once you get this split, honestly, the rest is a piece of cake. So on one side, you've got your action verbs. These are the doing words, right? Like ride, think, jump, call. Easy enough. And then on the other side, you've got stative verbs. These are the being words. They're all about states, emotions, senses, what you own. Think of words like love, be, seem, or have. It really just boils down to the difference between doing something and just being something.
Okay, so let's zoom in on that first family, the action verbs. Because as it turns out, even though they're all about doing, they don't all work the same way.
Now, this is a big one that trips people up all the time. First up, transitive verbs. These guys have to have a direct object to receive the action. Like in Grace sent a gift. The action, sending, has to go somewhere, right? It lands on the gift. You can't just say, the speaker discussed. You'd be thinking, discussed what? But in transitive verbs, they're totally self-sufficient. The bus leaves. Boom, done. The action is complete all by itself. It doesn't need an object to make sense. Next up, we've got the verbs that, follow the rules, and the ones that are total rebels. Regular verbs are super predictable. You just slap an ed on the end for the past tense. Walk becomes walked. Simple. But then you have the irregular verbs. These guys play by their own rules. Go becomes went. Put stays put. There's no magic formula here, unfortunately. These are the ones you just kind of have to learn over time.
Sometimes language is like playing with Legos. And that's exactly what phrasal verbs are. You start with a basic verb, like put. Then you add a little preposition, like on, and poof, you get a totally new meaning. Put on means to wear. It's not about putting something on top of something else. English is just packed with these things. Take off, look up, give away. They're everywhere. And last in our action family, we have the infinitive. This is the verb in its purest, most basic form. Think of it like the verb's factory settings, It's always to plus the verb. It's not about who's doing it or when. It's just the pure idea of the action itself. To be, to dream, to write. So, we've met the stars of the show, the action verbs. Now it's time to meet the incredible supporting cast. I'm talking about the helper verbs. First up are linking verbs, and honestly, they're like little bridges in your sentence. They don't show any action, nope. Instead, they just connect the subject to more info about that subject. Look at this example. The car smells like the ocean breeze. The car isn't actively doing something called smelling, right? The word smells is just a bridge connecting car to ocean breeze. And the king of all linking verbs is to be. Am, is, are, was, were. Then we have helping verbs. Some people call them auxiliary verbs. These guys team up with the main verb to give us extra details, especially about when something is happening. So if I say Andrew is writing, that little word is helps the main verb, writing, to show that it's happening right now. The big three that you'll see all the time are forms of to be, to have, and to do. And within that helper group, there's a really cool subcategory called modal verbs. These are special. They add a whole other layer of meaning. They show things like possibility, like it may rain, or ability, like I can read, or necessity, you must go. They basically change the whole mood of the sentence.
Just look at the difference here. You must go. That's a command. No question about it. It may rain. That's just a possibility, 50-50 maybe. You should look. That's some pretty strong advice. See how each one, must, may, should, completely changes the feel of the sentence? It adds all these extra shades of meaning without even touching the main verb.
Okay, so we've gone through all these different types. But what's the point, right? Why does any of this stuff actually matter? Well, this isn't just some boring grammar exercise, I promise. It's about making your communication better, like way better. When you understand these different types of verbs, you can go from writing something that's just okay to writing something that is sharp, precise, and powerful. It's about having the control to pick the perfect verb for the job.
So let's just zoom out and recap the big picture real quick. It all starts with those two main families, right? Action verbs for doing and stative verbs for being. Then, within the action verbs, we saw that some need an object and some don't, and some follow the rules while others are unpredictable. And then we have the helper verbs, which either connect ideas or add all those cool shades of meaning. See, it's a pretty logical system when you break it down.
So I'll leave you with this one thought. The next time you sit down to write anything, doesn't matter if it's a big report or just a quick text message, take a second and actually look at the verbs you're using. Are they just there, or are they actively making your point stronger? Now that you know all the different types, which one do you think you'll notice first?